I'm not a ranger yet, but I will be in the future.
Once a ranger,
Always a ranger.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Once a Ranger. We've taken a small hiatus to talk about, one, the Power Ranger movie, and then the special came out. So even though we got 60 episodes in season 1 to go, we have taken, we diverted a bit, but now we're back on track. So we are doing 3 episodes today: Trouble with Shell Shock, the Bitsy Spider, and what was the third one?
The Spitflower.
The Spitflower. So why don't we start with the Trouble with Shell Shock, which, as a side, is Blastoise's name in Pokemon the first movie.
Oh.
Yeah, Shell Shocker.
I thought it was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reference.
Is it? Well,
it
probably is, because Pokemon the first movie came out way after this. So
oh, okay.
it's just like, I was just like, oh, that's like the name of Blastoise.
That's
In Pokemon the first Shell Shocker, technically.
Right.
All right. Squat and Baboo taking the initiative again.
Yes.
The real MVPs.
Like, anytime they do anything, it feels like they're actually doing something productive to, like, move the plan forward. And there's either, I was about to call him Gengar.
I've ruined it.
Yeah, I have Pokemon on my mind now. Pokemon. There's Goldar there, just to be like, yeah, no, this isn't gonna work. It's like, it's working though. I don't know why are you being so mean about
Squat
it.
and Baboo do more for the team than Goldar has ever done.
Right?
Goldar, you have no right to complain.
But Goldar gets, like, personally offended that they did this while Rita was sleeping. So I feel like there's some unresolved issues there. Like, maybe Goldar is in love with Rita, and he's like, I need to prove myself. And Squad and Baboo are ruining it for me.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean,
Baboo are truly geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, next to Tommy, he does like simp pretty hard for Rita. Goldar does. So
Yeah.
you know,
Honestly,
he's
He
always-
diverts later.
Yeah.
Eventually he's like, I'm over it. It's like very like, oh, she doesn't like me back. Well, now I hate her, pretty much. Which is like,
Typical.
yeah, storyline for down the road. I also thought this episode was so wild. So this monster is the craziest monster in terms of logistics. But also, it kind of makes sense that this monster doesn't make sense, because it's just like Squat and Baboo, like, being like, what if we did this? What if we did this? And he's just, like, mushing a bunch of stuff together. So I thought that worked out, even though it was kind of, like, really weird and crazy.
The what is it? The stop and go power just seems like ridiculously insane.
Yeah.
I thought it was really funny and, like, really campy that, like, Trini just couldn't stop moving.
Yeah.
She just runs away.
Yeah.
She's got to go constantly.
Yeah.
I know we're a little bit of ahead, but I really love that shot where she's on top of the monster's head.
Yeah.
It's just dancing. It's just dancing or running or doing something. She's just active in some kind of way. And she
That's so
can't stop moving. It's like, oh man, that's
Yeah,
so funny.
and too bad they didn't use the yellow light, which I guess would assume slow everybody down.
Mhm.
I think that would have been funny, but no, it's just stop and go. I noticed in this episode, Kimberly says, why don't you crawl back to the circus you came from? Which, you know, why don't you crawl back to the ooze you came from, really, like, stuck out in my head. So it was kind of like, she tends to use similar phrases. I love that. I kind of giggled a bit when she said that.
I thought this was going to be a Zach-centered episode, because he was like, there seemed like a focus on Zach a little bit. Also, it was pretty ridiculous that he just went to go do a slam dunk in the middle of this
Fighting?
putty fight. It's just, I was like, oh, okay, great,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, it's. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, Zach had his whole rhyming basketball scene, which
Yes.
came back at the end because Billy made a basket because he could also rhyme. Kind of.
Which arguably, I think Billy's rhyme was way better.
Yeah.
It was
He
like,
included a new morph word, which is cool.
I was like, this is all
Morphonomic.
Billy's game right now, man.
Yeah.
Like, Billy just coming up with words out of nowhere to make it happen.
And he can dunk. That was the other part.
And
I was
he
just
can
like,
dunk.
oh,
That's
where did that
crazy.
come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
It's
episode
the
really
power of the
didn't.
rhyme.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, this episode really didn't have a story for the actual teenagers this time. This is the beginning of Tommy just leaves because he has karate and then shows up later.
Yeah.
Kind of arc.
Yeah. Oh, it happens.
What's going on?
It happens in all 3 episodes.
Yeah, all 3 episodes.
I was really confused about that.
Yeah, there's not enough footage, like Green Ranger more footage, like is the real reason why that happens. But it's so funny to see, like in universe, that like he's just like, okay, bye, and then like it cuts to like they always cut to a shot of him actually doing the karate. Like we believe you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I believe that he's doing it. He's just like filling time of him like swinging his stick around and whatnot. But yeah, this whole episode was kind of a mess. Like what is going on? What was I going to say? Also, Bulk and Skull are just kind of. It's really getting hard for me to defend them to Akil.
Yeah.
I like don't remember. Every time I see them, I'm like shocked. I'm like, I don't remember them like this. I remember
them manhandling Kimberly in this episode was a huge red flag.
Yeah, I'm like, why are they like grabbing her? Like, I don't remember them grabbing Trini and Kimberly this much.
They're hard to get behind when they act like this. And again, like. Because I remember watching a lot of were they in space?
They were in space.
They were in space, right?
Yeah.
Like they weren't this. They were much more goofy and much more comic reliefy. These guys are just kind of like jerks.
Yeah.
Maybe it's to the defense that, like they're still just teenagers. You know, maybe they're still trying to figure it out. And then they'll like get to that point where like they actually don't bother a lot of people. But there was a lot of what do you call it? Media of its time, I guess.
Yeah.
In seeing both of them interact with the Rangers this time.
Yeah, it's funny too because you're saying not even just in space, in Zeo, Turbo, and I think even the end of MMPR. I don't know when they started to change their characters. They were different from this a lot more than they were like from this. So yeah, like that's why I say like I don't remember like when I think of Bulk and Skull, I don't remember these aspects of them. I was like shocked that it's still this deep into the season, 20 episodes, and they're still like this. So I'm like, no, I feel like they changed this really, really fast. But then I guess 60 episodes is a lot of episodes, so I feel like they might be like this for a while, which I'm not looking forward to.
Only one month into the season.
Do they like what is it? Do they lean into like being reporters or trying to figure out who the Power Rangers are, or is that later?
That is in was that Zeo?
It's either MMPR? Zeo or it might be later season, like season 2 or 3 of MMPR.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were different Rangers then, definitely. It wasn't these guys. Yeah.
Because like in the comics, they're kind of set up as these two characters that are like trying to figure out like who the Rangers are like constantly.
Yeah.
Instead of always just being like these bullies.
I'm pretty sure.
And I do remember, I think it was like 2 or 3 episodes ago where something happened. And they were like they brought up like being in a camera or like they wanted to like figure out who the Rangers were. I forgot what the moment was, but I remember seeing it. I was like, oh, that's where that idea comes from. And then they expand on it a little bit later.
Yeah, they do a bunch of stuff. They did do that arc for a while. There was a really weird arc later with them. We'll get to that when we get to that. But I'm excited. I'm excited for Akio to get there.
You took the most notes, Akio. What are your notes?
I
have a lot of questions about like the lore from this episode.
Okay, is it about the flowers again?
Not about the flowers. Tangentially related to the flowers. Saber-toothed tiger powers also involve flower telekinesis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that come up again or just
probably not, no.
Probably not.
No. I don't think so. No.
And then this turtle.
Yes.
He pulled out a baseball bat and like hit the Power Rangers with baseballs multiple times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Sentai, was this a baseball episode instead of a basketball episode? Was that like the super specific monster aspect?
I don't know. I know Japan loves baseball though.
That's what I was thinking.
I like to watch it separate from the Sentai, right? Yeah. Like I'm like, this is its own universe. Like I like seeing the story and being like, oh, I can see them like try to pull together a story with this footage, but I don't like to like think what was the original Sentai story.
Yeah.
The only reason that stood out to me is because in the episodes that we've seen so far, it's very formulaic where the Power Rangers are doing something and then the monster has to do with that something.
Right.
And since the only thing they were doing is playing basketball, I would assume basketball monster. So it stuck out to me that it was a baseball monster instead. So
well, maybe that's the ingenious nature of like
Squat and Baboo.
Squat and, yeah. They like understood like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do something that's related to what they're doing. Maybe we should just like get them. You know, just get them.
Yeah.
So that's the fatal flaw in their plan this episode, is because they craft this perfect monster that can actually stop the Power Rangers, and they catch the Power Rangers off guard, but then they send the putties in first, and they're like, yeah, we caught them off guard. Well, now the putties are there, so now they're on guard, and they can fight against the monster. They should have just sent the monster in first.
I could argue their fatal flaw was letting Jason go.
I think what was kind of funny is, well, that and like Tommy was just like, oh man, putty attack? All right, I gotta go now. Like, I'm just gonna go and do my usual thing. Like everything's completely fine. Not be on high alert at all.
Tommy! He's the worst. I think he's due. Okay, like if we're talking about the universe,
figure this out.
Yeah, because the last time Putty's attacked him, he got kidnapped, right? Like I understand where he's like, I gotta go. Just my karate, and he called me later.
But I feel so bad for Tommy in specifically these 3 episodes. And you said it was a footage thing, so I don't know if they change it later. But like when he in the Green with Evil series, they're like, you're one of us, you're part of the team, you're our Power Ranger, you're our friend. And then in these 3 episodes, he gets the equivalent of a call from Zordon that's like, your friends are hanging out without you.
Yeah, that's funny.
It is funny.
Oh man,
it's his own fault though. He left, right? Like, not to like be like.
No, he left, but like he left at the most inconvenient time ever.
Yeah. Which he does, I think, all 3 episodes.
He does. Both 2 times were for karate, and 1 time he was just late.
Just late. I was just late. Sorry, guys.
Oops.
So one thing I did notice in this episode, when Tommy shows up and so does Jason, we have this amazing duality Megazord scene, which I love when they do that. Trini shows up and goes, Jason, Billy.
Yeah, I heard that. I caught that too.
She loves Billy so much.
She does.
Billy's not there, Trini. Tommy, again, good to your point, Akil. Tommy is just forgotten. It's
Poor Tommy. Can you imagine? He's like, I'm here too. All right.
Poor Tommy. Sure.
I had to drop karate to be here right now, but I'm cool. Yeah. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
What about me?
What about me?
What about Tommy?
You only have like a lasting legacy of 30 years. It's whatever, dude.
It's just so funny that like.
Oh yeah, I agree. But it's just like I don't feel poor Tom. I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, this is so funny. He's just like doing whatever he's doing.
And
he's a call from Zordon. He's like, "Oh shoot, I'm a Power Ranger." He has to go do something about it.
No, it's definitely a footage thing because like there are so many episodes where he's always just doing something random, something else. Yeah, it's usually karate, but it also could just be like I don't know. Sometimes they don't even know like, oh, we don't know where Tommy is, which I'm just like, you don't know. You can find this like flower in this other dimension, but you don't know where Tommy is on Earth. What is this?
Yeah.
It's funny because, again, what Akil was saying, it means they're always hanging out, but Tommy's not there. Like, even Unmorphed, he's, like, doing his own thing.
Yeah.
But, okay, that's in the later episode, but I have a comment about Tommy hanging out with everybody. But what other notes do you have, Akil, on this episode?
Just a technical filmmaking thing. I love that Jason kicks the turtle on the basketball court and they land in a different city. I thought that was a fun choice.
Yeah.
Oh, that happens a lot.
That does happen a lot, yeah. It's always it's always a quarry or like an industrial looking area or like a refinery. It's always got to be some kind of segue to those things. The kick is iconic though. That one's the
kick is iconic.
Or like they'll just like punch something and then they'll like fly off screen and then they're just where they need to be. That's always
this was a nice fluid shot, so I really appreciated that. Yeah. That's all I got for this episode. Aside from just like one weird thing, all these people morph into their animals, like Tyrannosaurus, saber-toothed tiger, but Tommy morphs into a dragon Zord.
Correct.
Is there a reason he doesn't morph into a dragon?
No.
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 It's not an actual reason. It's just
No. Tommy's different. He's different. He also does it. He remote activates it too. So I think if I'm gonna do my own fan fiction theory, it would be because the Rangers are in sync with their Sabretooth, like the Tiger. They're like pretty much one and the same.
Yeah.
But Tommy is not. He's a separate entity that controls the Zord, so it's his Zord.
Okay. Because I was just thinking, when he morphs, he says Dragon Zord.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else just says their thing. And then he pulls out his flute and summons the Dragon Zord.
Yeah.
Correct.
He doesn't even really fight. He lets it. He's there to have the monster. There to control the monster mostly.
It's really more about the Zord than it is about him.
Yeah.
Again, poor Tommy.
And yet.
Yeah.
And yet we all went so crazy for Tommy. Like,
yes.
There was no reason. I mean, there was a reason. But,
aside from him being cute, there's like, I'm still waiting on his like heroics.
Right.
Yeah.
Nav, do you have any notes?
So cute.
As I was saying off camera before we started recording, I have such few notes for this entire set of episodes. I don't know. It's just like, well, I do have a few, but like, so one of them was that most of this episode is them fighting. Like, they just like shoved so much Sentai footage into this episode. Because you have like 2 minutes of them playing basketball, then they get attacked, and then all of a sudden it's just like fighting. They're in their suits, fighting. But the one big thing about watching these episodes after watching Once and Always is it is so weird now. Because, like, yes, the actress Twee Trang has passed away many years ago, but knowing that the character Trini doesn't exist anymore is so weird to watch now.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. It feels so sad.
Yeah.
Like, every time I see her, it actually hurts my heart, where it didn't before. Like, I feel like a pain, which is weird.
Yeah, like, I was watching and all of a sudden, like, this Trini had a line or something, and I was just like, oh, she's no longer... Like, it's just like, you think, like, all the time later and everything, it's just like, oh, they just... Like, you now know when it... I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is just like... Yeah, sorry to share that, but like, it's just like the main thing I took away from watching these episodes was like, oh, this character does, like, it's just different when you know the actor, because it's like, it's acting, right? But it's like, in universe, this character does not exist anymore. Like, wow.
Yeah. And I think that's why I paid attention to Trini calling Billy's name more so as well, because of that episode. I don't think I would have noted that if that episode didn't happen, because like, she literally sacrificed everything for Billy. They're so close. It's heartbreking.
On a lighter note, I like that Zordon was like, well, she's already moving, so I'm just gonna teleport her so she can continue moving and like get the thing she needs. Like, all right,
she's got this thing going on. Who else will make it useful? She's got to go.
This is the second time we had like a weird flower from another dimension too.
Yeah, and like, again, he literally knows where it is, but then Tommy will be missing, and he's just like, I'll contact him when I can. What do you mean when you can? What does that mean?
It's because Zordon doesn't really care about Tommy.
Honestly, I think Zordon is a very troubled individual that needs a lot of help. The more I can see him do anything.
I think if these 3 episodes happen in like the comics, and then Tommy like turned evil, it would make all the sense of the world. I'm like, okay, he's just being neglected, and he's like, screw this. I thought I joined a team. No, I didn't apparently. Because there's in the last episode, the Spit, I know it's jumping ahead, but in the Spitfire episode, he literally just says, just stay back. And I was like, what do you mean, just stay back? What?
He's like, stay back unless the Ranger, like, in case the Rangers fail, and then the Rangers obviously don't fail, so he's just like, okay, I'm hanging out with Alpha.
Or they could not fail by having Tommy there as well.
Yeah,
that too.
Devastating.
To like explain Tommy just a little bit, I guess. At this point in time in the comic books, so I also got to this argument whether or not the comic books are canon to like the actual TV show. I don't really care, but there's like obviously they borrow elements from the TV show. One of the things is like Tommy, like Rita's still in his head at this point, so like that's why like he like isn't with them as much within like the first arc, the first 6 issues of Mighty-Morphin Power Rangers. He's like still dealing with like Rita being inside his head. You don't really know, I think, whether or not it's actually Rita or it's just paranoia. So it delves a little bit more into like his psyche, which could explain like why he's not physically there, or like he just makes up excuses to like dip. But it is kind of like not like obviously this wasn't the plan like what 30 years ago. So
I know, right? Yeah.
It would have been amazing. Would have been amazing if it was.
It would
He's
be.
like, he's got to really practice karate, or he's a very troubled individual. He's just
if that was the actual reasoning,
Yeah.
right.
Like I said earlier, like last time he fought the putties, he got kidnapped. So it makes sense to be like, I gotta go.
I gotta go. I'm not dealing with
and
this
just to jump ahead just slightly, not slightly, a lot. Sorry, Yakil. I'm just gonna bring up Kat, because she also like she flashbacks, right?
Yes.
So there is that's not like a far-fetched idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final note for this episode, since there was a turtle, everybody go read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Volume 2. It just finished. Volume 1 should be available. Volume 2 also just finished, but it's the best crossover I've read in comic books. It's like so much fun to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. In the first volume, they turned into the Power Rangers, like the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the Triceratops, like all of them. And then in this new version, in the volume 2, they get their own set of Power Ranger, they're just like a different set of Rangers, which is also from a different universe.
There's a bunch of universes.
There's a bunch of universes.
But
Morphin Grid does whatever it wants.
But is it better than the in space crossover?
I don't think anyone's gonna be
honestly,
that.
when that happened, I had a heart attack. Like honestly,
it was so bad. It was so bad.
I loved
that
it.
gif will live in my mind forever, though. Where they're like handshaking and they're just like, whoa, it's just like this is like the '90s shenanigans that I wish we could have again.
Yeah, it was good stuff, and I love practical effects. Ninja Turtles. I have such a soft spot for the original Ninja Turtle movie. I
forgot they made 2 of them. The Bay one.
Oh,
I forgot there was
don't know anything about the second one.
The Bay one.
The second one doesn't exist. What are you talking about?
Oh man, dude.
Moving on.
Transformers now. Go on.
Man. But you know what? It is what it is. It's fine. I don't really love Michael Bay, but that's a different story for a different time.
Okay.
The Bitsy Spider, again, Vulcan Skull suck.
And they're also allergic to everything.
Yeah.
I felt seen.
Well, was that this episode?
Yep. Sorry, that's the next one.
Next episode. Well, I think we deal. At least Zach is dealing with like.
Yeah, it's back to form. Yeah. They're petitioning to save a statue because, of course, they are. Well, it's not even a park or something.
Why
it's just a statue.
Yeah, and for a barbecue pit, which is not even that bad.
Yeah,
right? Like bringing the community together, right?
And statue, I guess.
Yeah, no, I was actually concerned at first. I'm like, what is this statue? Like, please be something like good, right? Like not an homage to some guy, right? Like I was like, that would be so not great. But yeah, it was more of like a spiritual thing, which I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. But the thing I thought was funny was it took at least an hour to make. I'm like, is that a long time
for a statue?
To make the statue? It's not, right? That's like really, really fast.
Yeah.
It looks like a stone too.
Yeah, to make a statue out of stone. I was like, oh, they're making it sound like, oh no, this statue is such a big deal. It took at least an hour to make. And I was like, you didn't need to say that because...
At least an hour, though. That's an hour no one's getting back.
But also, so this... Sorry, I have... This moth sleeping powder, what was the point? They make the kids go to sleep, but why were the kids why were the kids asleep?
Well, they were supposed to target the Rangers, right? For Zach.
Oh, I thought they were supposed to target the whole town.
Yes, including the Rangers, but they just put them on the statue and never like tried to lure the Rangers to the statue. They were like, do your thing. It was But also, okay, so Zach, after he sees these kids asleep and Zordon explains that the moths, have the sleeping powder, Zach is like running away and he says like, "Oh no, I gotta get away quick, otherwise it's gonna be Rip Van Winkle time," which I didn't know what the heck that was. But I've also heard, I guess I heard that term from this episode because I've had it, like, I say it randomly, like that name. I've never heard of it before, but it's just a catchy name. So I looked it up, and it's this story of this dude in, like, the 1800s or something. Maybe it's earlier, I forgot. Probably earlier. And he falls asleep because he, I think, drinks alcohol or something.
And he grows a really long beard.
And he misses the entire, like, Revolutionary War, something like that. I don't remember the exact story, but it's just like this weird... I was like, why does Zach know this? And why is that the reference that this 90s teenager is going to make?
In the 90s, maybe it's just my experience. Mm-hmm. In the 90s, Rip Van Winkle was a very popular story. Growing up in elementary school, we talked about Rip Van Winkle, Rumpelstiltskin, and all of those were like very common knowledge stories. I read at least 4 books in elementary school about Rip Van Winkle. I'm not making it up. Like...
No, I believe you, but that's absurd.
Yeah, Canada's a crazy place, Doc.
4 books?
Can you imagine though the writer like just write this is like they're gonna fucking love this when he says that.
What?
I run into the issue now where like I quote like Back to the Future whenever like I'm leaving and I was like I'm gonna make like a tree and get out of here, and everyone's like what? That's not how the saying goes. Like I know that's not how the saying goes. It's from a movie, and everyone just thinks I'm dumb. So I try not to say it anymore.
I get that.
No, because it's not as colloquial as like how the turntables, right? Or denial is a river in Egypt. Like that's the new one where it's denial is not just a river in Egypt. Like now it's like changed up, right? Some things are allowed to be different and some things aren't. It's weird that Back to the Future is one that people don't recognize because that is, a great.
I think that just shows my age and how many times I've seen that movie. I feel like a lot of people like see the first one, they don't see the third one, and the third one's like where they make, or the second one where they make fun of actually Biff saying something that dumb. Anyway, back to Power Rangers.
Yeah, Rip Van Winkle. So when I heard that, I was like, "What does this mean? Does he have a beard?" And then I'm like, "No, he falls asleep. That makes more sense."
Right.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to make the connection, and the one very obvious one where he fell asleep was just like not clicking in my brain for some reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes the long route. But so this episode is like opposite of the last episode where we have a lot of in-person plot that has nothing, that is not plot, right? So it's like, we see like 5 minutes of Zach doing karate dancing and like Tommy like flipping around and like, so it's a lot of them just like doing nothing. But it's nice to see them flip around. Like we don't really get to see Zach do much, right? So we don't get to see like his martial arts style and whatnot. So I think that was nice. I also love that Rita has a little flair for like adding a signature to her little plans, where she has like a snake instead of a flower to indicate this is my piece of art. Right?
Rita is so iconic. Rita has become like one of my favorite villains as of recent years. Just as being just this complete icon who just does whatever she wants. Strong female lead for sure. The strongest.
Yeah, and going back to the last episode, Rita always does what something relates to Power Rangers, right?
Yes.
Scott and Baboo do not care.
No,
they don't care about the Power Rangers. Rita always has like, I like what they're doing, and I'm gonna like just specifically mess up their day. And that's like another one of these things.
Problem that we are going for results. Rita's going for like a very internal trauma. She's trying to hit them where it hurts.
Yeah.
Right?
She's like, I just don't want to destroy them. I want to destroy them from the inside.
Right. They think they can bring good to society. Well, let's just watch this one thing that they're trying to protect. I will destroy. They didn't want a barbecue pit. Well, actually, I'll make it worse.
Yeah.
You should have went for the barbecue pit.
It is interesting though because like all 3 episodes, the monsters are actually very strong. I will say, like all 3 monsters are really tough for them to beat. And I don't know if it's because like now the writers are like, oh well, now there's a 6th ranger, so we do need to make them tougher because like otherwise it gets too boring. But like I just found it interesting that like
ranger, but
yeah, but like so like they even had to use the Dragon Zord battle mode. I forget what the mode is called, but like
Super mode.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call it battle mode, which I do love. I love that mode.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
And I think the spider monster does still like knock it down or something like that. So yeah, it's tough monsters that came out of these.
This episode too. Was it this one or the next one? Where they took the Megazord apart again. We've never seen that.
I think it was this one. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I was like, this is so good. I love that. Like, so the feet get stuck, so they just literally get together, right? And then we finally see disengage. We finally see Zach's Zord doing something like other than Jason's Zord. So usually when you see Jason's Zord doing something, we see Zach's Zord, and that scene with like his power is freezing stuff. They're so good. I'm like, this is good lore. Like, I love that. I love this scene so much. I'm like, this is so good.
Yeah, but we've seen that in like the intro and the morphing sequences and stuff. But now we finally get to see the freezing in action.
Right.
Well, I thought it was just him blowing air. Right?
Yeah, I thought it was like steam or something. It's just
it's a freeze.
Dramatic.
It looks like freezing. Like freezing effects.
Right.
Like Superman has the same one as old movies.
Right.
So are we supposed to believe like these Zords are like not sentient, but like do they have like I don't know feelings or something?
Right?
Do they?
So
I don't know.
When they get destroyed, they scream.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
which is kind of devastating to think about. But also,
like the wild Zords,
right? No, the wild Zords, those definitely.
Yeah,
have, like,
I'm sure the Ferris wheel isn't sentient.
But like the dragons, okay, so like we talk about like the Dragon Zord, right? Like is a monumental piece of like the Green Ranger power, and it seems like the Dragon Zord has its own kind of like self-awareness of what's going on.
Yeah.
It seems like because there's no cockpit in the Dragon Zord. I don't think.
No.
I don't think Tommy ever gets in like any kind of control panel. He just like has a flute.
Yeah, and sometimes he stands on it.
Not in the regular like dragon mode. I think when they come together, then there is a cockpit, but
right.
But not like as the dragon. Yeah, he just stands on top, which I'm like, okay, how do you not fall off? You just gravity.
I'm gonna make
boots?
another
like
Pokemon reference, but like it's like from Pokemon 2000 where they have like the flute and then they summon Lugia.
Yeah. That's
so,
literally
the Dragon Zord does its own thing.
But what I'm curious too, so if the Mastodon has freezing power, it's not too far of a stretch that the Sabretooth has teleportation power.
I feel like that is still a stretch.
Telekinesis.
No, not telekinesis.
Teleportation.
They brought the flowers to Trini, which she didn't need to do because Trini could climb up and like take the flowers.
Right. She could have
but I feel like it kind of sets up that each of the Zords have their own individual power.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Triceratops has.
They have like a chain thing.
Yeah, it has chains. Yeah.
Horn things.
Yeah.
It's not really a power. That was just kind of a
their own abilities. I guess is a better word.
Abilities.
Maybe.
And the T-Rex goes on his tail and kicks. It's very Jason, right? I love that.
Or oh my god, I know this has nothing.
The Dragons
or
just does everything, of course.
It literally does everything.
I love that.
Drill tail.
This has literally nothing to do with what we're talking about. I don't know why I'm thinking about this right now. Like, for some reason, I was thinking of Tyrannosaurus, would like breathe fire, but like no, it kicks things. It's like that's its special ability.
Yeah.
This is for YouTube. The Power the 1997 Power Rangers movie, whatever the first Power Rangers movie, where like he throws Saba to like cut the cut the thing.
Yeah.
And you think I remember watching, it was like it's just gonna cut the wire. It's like no, it just stops. He uses a laser beam. It's a sword. You think it would just cut it? No, it's flipping too. It stops immediately, and then it just uses a laser beam on the road.
The worst part of that, Nick, is that was American footage. It wasn't like something like that they had to use. They thought that, wrote it down, and then did it. Yep. Which is always so funny. Those suits, by the way, are so awesome, but we'll get to that when we actually watch that movie.
Right. Oh my god, dude.
Gosh, those suits are freaking good.
Tangent, yeah. But that was so funny.
It's funny that you think T-Rexes would blow fire because
because he's red, and I was like, it's like a dinosaur looking thing. Like, why not? You know?
But also,
no, it just kicks things.
But also, I think most other iterations of T-Rex, like machines in media do fire. So I get it. When you said that, I was like, oh, it doesn't. Good point. Like it doesn't in my head, I was like, oh yeah, that's obvious. And it's like, no wait,
it kicks.
Just
Yeah.
So,
like the T-Rex. He's my favorite Zord. Out of all of them, I think aesthetically, like whenever the Dragon Zord and the T-Rex stand next to each other, it makes me squeal inside. Like it just makes me so excited. I think it did when I was a child too.
Yeah.
Oh, the one thing I think, well, we talked about what is it, Bulk and Skull, and like they're kind of extra mean in this one because they like throw spiders at people.
Oh yeah, bugs.
For what reason?
Yeah, that's actually like, damn, that's crazy. That's couldn't deal with that. Do you guys like bugs? Are you guys cool around bugs?
Yeah.
It depends on the bug.
I'm okay.
It depends on the bug. Like, if it's in my house, then less so. If it's outside, then I'm more okay with it. Or in like somebody else's house, or in some other building, I'm only not okay with them in my house. Because I don't know how to get rid of them because I can't kill bugs. Like in my heart, I can't do it. Yeah. So if I see it in my house, I'm like, I guess they live here now.
Right.
They usually just leave, honestly.
Funny story. One time I was at San Diego Zoo, and they had like an insect room, right? And there's a display. This can get squeamish for people if you don't like bugs. There's a display of like these giant cockroaches, right? And they all like kind of sit like tiled together, because their shells are huge, and they just kind of like form a wall to protect themselves, I guess. Right. And my wife is looking at this thing, and she's like, where are they? Like, I don't see them. There's just this tree bark, and I'm like, that's them. Like, that's all of them in like this pattern. And she was like, I'm leaving. And she walked out of that bug room, and she's like, I never want to go back in there ever again.
It's so weird because they exist the same place as humans and fish, which it's like, how are all these things existing, right? Like, it's kind of, and that is like its own. I think about that a lot whenever I think about like flies, especially, and like their eyeballs.
Yes.
What the heck? Yeah, just insects to me are aliens. Like, I'm like, I don't know how you came to be.
Cool. I love insects. I like only bees freak me out because I'm like, that's gonna hurt.
No, bees are nice. Wasps will kill you.
Oh yeah, but the potential of being hurt, that's the one that scares me. Spiders, not so much. As long as I'm not touching a spider, I'm pretty okay with it. But everything else is like pretty interesting to find. Cockroaches are gross though. Those things are just...
They are gross, and if you kill them, it's like a call for more cockroaches to come.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But going to Tommy this episode, Tommy being missing the action for karate. But at the end, he has this cute little thing where he's teasing Zach, where you kind of see, oh yeah, I am a part of the group. But he's kind of mean. But I think it's like, and if you know, Jason David Frank was always like, he was bothering people on set a lot with his pranks. It's just like one of those layered moments.
Mhm.
But it definitely was a moment where you get to finally see Tommy being like a part of the group, and not just with Jason, because I feel like Jason and Tommy are always together, and or sometimes he hangs out with Kimberly, but it's nice to see him interact with the other Rangers as well.
Mhm.
And I thought that was like a little cute moment.
He definitely becomes more involved later on after the thing. I think it is just like the limitation with like how much Green Ranger footage there was. Also just like how selective he shows up, I think, in the original Sentai, because I think he lives in a cave. So it's like you can't really like put him anywhere. He's just, most of the time it is like how it is in the current episodes, where he's just like, yeah, I get up with the Dragon Sword every once in a while. That's cool.
I will say, without even spoiling things, the way they handle it though, like like these like moments of him just disappearing or not being there aside, but like the way they handle that limitation is pretty impressive. And then what they do towards the end of so
yeah, no, yeah, for sure, because how they handle it in other seasons are
they just send them away. They just send them away for good. Like it's not even like, oh, they're just gone.
Yeah, they're gone forever. The one that gets me, the biggest gripe I have, and this is so far down the line, I don't even care that I'm spoiling it for you, Akio, because we'll be years before we get there. So, and I think I've talked to you about this now. In Power Rangers Dino Charge, Tyler has a dad who literally disappeared for most of his life to be, air quotes, a ranger in hiding, right? Shows up after causing this massive fight between Tyler and his girlfriend, like huge. And then he's like, well, it's fine because we're going to play catch now. And then he disappears again.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I'm like, are we talking about like the worst dad in history of all the dads? Like,
Yeah, that guy sucks.
Yeah, I was like so upset, and I'm like, why is everyone pretending like this is okay? And all because they didn't have enough footage for that.
Yep.
But on the flip side, like the prince also like, which makes his story make sense. He's like, I'm a prince, I don't have time to be a ranger. So good luck, everybody else. Yeah, the dad thing was my biggest gripe. I was like, come on, like
parent relationships are so complicated in Power Rangers because they always end up being like a ranger for some reason.
Sometimes,
in Mystic Force.
Yes,
gosh.
God, parents are so wild.
Parents are so wild. Anyways, that was like I was so mad at that season. I was like, Tyler, your dad sucks. Like and you know what? That dad gave Tyler a lot of trauma that was evident throughout the show. Like literally, like. Anyways, back to.
I'm gonna rewatch the Dino Charge now.
It's such a good season. It's like one of my favorites.
I'm rewatching Time Force again for some reason. So I'll do that after this.
Time Force is also really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the Halloween episode. Ernie.
Halloween episode.
Oh, this was a Halloween episode?
Did I
flower?
miss? Oh my
No,
god,
the
I think I
spit
watched
flower.
the wrong episode. Okay.
Oh, you pulled a me.
I did pull you.
No.
Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Goodbye.
Wait, do you remember the episode with the float?
I do remember the episode with the float. Okay, so,
yeah. So you can contribute a little bit.
Oh, did you watch 4 episodes?
No, I just know it from my memory.
Oh,
watching it
okay.
in my childhood. Yeah.
You know, it's so funny.
Such an obscure episode
like,
to remember.
This episode, the one with the float, where
Yeah.
he makes the float, is like the most memorable episode to me.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just remember
Interesting.
it the most out of the ones we've seen recently.
Okay.
It's that and like the White Ranger episode. Like those are the two that stick out to me the most for some reason.
That's
The White Ranger, yeah.
so
Yeah.
fascinating. I had no recollection of this episode.
Really?
Like, I don't remember the monster. I was just like, what is this episode? It's just a random... the other two were more like... I remember Shell Shock because of the monsters just... It's a turtle with a traffic light. Like, how do you how do you forget that?
Yeah.
And then the other one is a Zach focus, so I was like, okay, I remember those two, and But this one, I was just like, what is this episode? Where did it come from?
Well, I mean, it might be because like I always remember Power Rangers being like this activism sort of kind of message, and it's like this is that episode. It's like she made a float for world peace. Like Kimberly, like, it's like yeah, she made a float designed for that like amplifies world peace or something like that. I was like, that's the most outrageous thing. But also, like that's the most activist thing I can think of. And then she was, I remember that line specifically. It was like, oh, you know, they're gonna recycle these flowers, and they're like, oh, how? It's like they're gonna make a poopery. And I was like, I remember this one specifically.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I learned something today. You can
Kimberly,
do that.
yeah. From what I remember, Kimberly was really giving her A plus in this episode. I guess making up for her bullying years. I think the reason, and correct me if I'm remembering this wrong. I just quickly did a skim. But correct me if I'm remembering this wrong. This is one of the first times we really start to see Tommy and Kimberly like bonding.
Yes.
Other than the group. So that for me is why it stuck out when I was a child, because that ship was my ride or die for a while. It's like, these guys are the best. So I feel like that was the first time, just at the end, he's just kind of like comforting her a bit. And it's just like this moment, this adorable moment between them two. And I think it's just like kind of really seeing the start of their relationship, kind of air quotes bloom, pun intended.
So it starts off with like the float, then they get attacked by putties. But it's just them this time, and they're in the center.
Yeah,
they're oddly empty.
Yeah.
Is the float in the? Do I remember this right? Is the float in the center?
No, it's a model of the float.
Oh, it's a model of the float. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
And then Bulk and Skull come in, and then they're like, "Look at the model of the thing that I was look at the model of the thing that you guys made."
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was the monster? I literally saw this like 2 days ago.
Spitflower.
It was a flower monster, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it could turn all the flowers evil.
That's so good.
It's just the plot of The Happening.
I cannot believe this is the episode I missed because, oh my God, man, this episode was so good. I'm gonna actually watch this after.
What are your notes, Akil?
What are your notes, Akil? Let's
like,
track through your notes.
So Nick, you were talking earlier about how like Rita's plans are specifically devastating to the Power Rangers.
Yes, dude, she was extra this episode.
This was the worst she's ever hurt the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By far, by destroying this model of the float. Which, as they explained it while Kimberly was crying, I'm like, I'm pretty sure you can make the float without the model. Like, if you're this close to the parade and you haven't built the float yet,
right?
I don't think this model's doing anything.
Fair.
There's a lot of time that like there's a lot of questions of time of like how this all functions.
Yeah.
Because she was gonna submit the model and then the model was gonna be made into a float. I think that's what
I'm assuming whoever's running this parade has a Monster-Matic and they're just gonna put the model into a machine.
Right. It just comes out huge. Because at the end of the episode, I was like, that float's huge!
Yeah.
It's a huge float!
Like a 3-story float.
They just let her build that? They took this high schooler's idea and was like, that's what we're gonna do.
But it won like best world peace float globally.
Yes.
So of course they built that one.
So
Also,
if we learn anything about Angel Grove is they have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, it is Tommy and Alpha that build it. So that could explain why it got built so quickly. Because they used the Morphin grid or something. I don't know.
Tommy's not doing anything. He's not hanging out with anybody, so...
Yeah, he's got time on his hands.
He's alive.
Tommy's so cute.
So Akil said, it's like, it really breaks Kimberly's, like, spirit.
Yeah.
That was like, wow, emotional damage. Like, she really is. That's what I said earlier. It's like, she's really going to like destroy them from the inside, not just like kill them. She's trying to like completely break them, and that's like so fucked up, but also very respectable. It's like, dang, this enemy that she's so obsessed with, like she knows everything about them and like is attacking them mentally. Right. And just like breaks Kimberly for just like a moment. I was like, that's sad. That's truly evil.
I mean, yeah, she's giving it her all, right? Like, even with the episode with Trini and, like, getting into her dreams and stuff, like, I feel like really breaking into the psyche, I feel it's good that they're teenagers, but also awful because the problems that they're dealing with are kind of smaller on scale. Imagine if they're like adults and they're like crushing their soul. Like I feel like
Rita's like, I'm gonna bankrupt you in your entrepreneurial ventures.
Oh, you're trying to get to work? I'll just make you late for the 80th time, and then your boss fires you. So now you don't have any income. So now you become homeless.
If you really, I know we just had the episode about the movie, but like Rita does go for their psyche a little bit, like attacking them individually and like questioning their beliefs, and it's like I should be doing that the whole time.
Well, okay, not gonna spoil it because the episodes are coming up soon, but one of my favorite episodes is coming up soon where that's pretty much what she does, like very directly. It's called The Island of Illusion. One of my favorite episodes. It's a two-parter. One of my favorite episodes of Power Rangers. But that's literally what she does. She screws with their minds so much in that episode.
Again, Rita, ultimate evil. Okay, no one holds a candle to Rita.
Yeah.
Most of the like villains later on in the seasons, they're kind of just like, are they one-dimensional? I feel like the Disney ones were pretty one-dimensional.
Some aren't.
I think Divatox was a little bit one-dimensional.
She's like cartoony too.
Yeah.
Astronomo was really good.
Yes, Astronomo was insanely good.
Yeah.
Rancic was really good.
Rancic also was really good.
My personal favorite is Mesogog because this dude had no chill. No chill.
No, absolutely not.
And he's like, what did he want? Like dinosaurs?
He wanted to bring the world back to prehistoric times. Yes, he wanted to recreate dinosaurs and make the world back to like
evolution. Did he want like just?
No, he wanted to like create dinosaurs. That's literally what he wanted to do. Like Jurassic Park, essentially.
He's living in the wrong universe because it happened in Dino Charge.
It did, yeah. Well, did you guys ever see that like Spider-Man meme of like the pterodactyl guy? I forget the guy's name, but like Spider-Man's like, you could like rewrite DNA and you could like solve like the answer for like the cure for cancer, and you're like, why don't you do that? And he's like, because I just want to turn everybody into dinosaurs. Like that's my plan.
That's actually
but I want to turn people into dinosaurs, and you're like, okay, that's good enough for me.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Mesogog, he's also a scientist, so yeah. That's
just like, I want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of like evil plans, like the dinosaur one was kind of like one of the more. Everything else kind of seems like a bit grasping for straw. What was the one Ninja Storm? They're twins. What was his name?
Oh shoot! I literally just looked them up. You said,
Blake and Hunter?
No, the twins. One was evil and one was good. One was like a chipmunk or something.
Oh yeah, Lothor. Lothor's the villain.
Yeah, like we don't really know what Lothor like.
I think he just wanted to rule the world. You know, like it was very generic. Yeah, just rule the world. But yeah, via ninjas.
I love the style. Like Ninja Storm doesn't go like very deep, but like I love that like all three of them are just kind of like losers.
Yeah,
I like Ninja Storm as a series. In terms of the villain, not the strongest villain, but like the two side girls are hilarious.
Oh yeah,
Blake and Hunter are very strong additional Rangers. Cam is better than Zordon in every way. Plus, Dustin and them are like, I don't know. It was a fun season.
It's a fun season. It doesn't go deep, but it's a fun time.
Yeah. I think if anything, it's just a good time, and it makes sense that would be like the surfery season. Anyways, we are getting this episode.
Sidetracked here.
Yeah, very sidetracked. Akil's like, what are you talking about? I don't care.
No, I'm learning.
I don't know. I was telling Akil before, like I don't have many notes because like these episodes, they're not bad, but they're just like kind of there to me. Just like
they do become. I think I keep saying this every time, but like we see more of that formula again, where it's like human problem, monster, giant monster fight, and then resolution to human problem.
Right.
I think like the last episode was pretty on par with that. This one also, you do get to explore Tommy's like dynamic with Kimberly a lot more.
Yeah, and I love that.
It's really funny because like they beat the monster, and then Tommy's still in his Green Ranger form, and he's like, "All right, Alpha, help me in the garage. I need you over the garage now." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." He just goes, and Alpha doesn't know anything about human tools. I guess he just
doesn't know
keeps grabbing the wrong tool, and Tommy's just getting frustrated. This is why he doesn't hang out with anybody, probably, because the simplest things, simplest things annoy him.
I
think Jason has more anger issues than Tommy does.
Probably, yeah.
But Jason has friends.
Jason doesn't.
It's true.
To like bring him back.
Poor Tommy.
It's one note, but it's from both the episodes, like the spider one and then this one. I don't know why they make Billy just like, so like in the spider one, they have to like collect insects because all those insects that Bulk and Skull threw around. So they're like, oh, we have to collect them to give them to the teacher or whatever. And Billy's wearing like that insect, not insect hat, but like he's wearing a hat that like, you know, people usually see like beekeepers or like people in like, I don't know. I'm just like, why is he wearing this? Like, well, why do you like? Are you this? I didn't know you're that like into insects that you like had this hat. And then
like a dorky.
Yeah, and then in the Spitflower one, they're watching the parade on television, and Billy is looking at it through binoculars.
Oh yeah.
And Ernie says, "Why?" And he goes, "So it's like I'm there." It's like, what do you? Why? Like, what?
Where was this parade? Like, was it at? So I assume everything happens in Angel Grove, right?
Yeah.
So it was happening in Angel Grove, and they knew. Obviously, the answer is production issues or like production funds. But like, I just want to know, like, oh, let's surprise Kimberly with her float. You guys just didn't take her to the float?
Yeah.
You guys just didn't decide like maybe we should actually take her to the parade that her float is at instead of watching it on TV.
I thought it was there, but then they said like these are parade floats from around the world. So I'm like, oh, it's probably in some special city.
Oh yeah, that might actually be it. But it was just funny to just
take
But
it.
even then, why wouldn't you take I mean, I know it's a surprise so that maybe you can convince her without ruining the surprise. I get that, but like, yeah, if it's like something that you did, wouldn't you want to be there present to like see it?
Right. Like, 'cause also, can't they all just
be on it?
Like
that too.
Can teleport? Yeah, I was gonna be like, maybe it's expensive, but no, it's not.
No, they can just teleport. Well, okay, because I don't think they ever use their Power Ranger powers for like selfish reasons.
Well,
right?
it's against the code.
It's against the code.
Yeah, I don't think they ever teleport somewhere unless like it's pertaining to like a ranger situation. You know, like they'll teleport to the park if there was like putties detected or something like that, but they won't just like teleport to the they won't just teleport to the park because they want to play ball. You know, like. So yeah,
so much interesting stories that can come from that though.
It's true. Like, I wonder if it hurts them like molecularly, like that's why they don't do it too often. Like
they do it often enough though. They do it often enough regardless. Zordon teleports them. Zordon's like bring them. They don't even do it sometimes. Zordon's like Alpha bring them. Presses the button. It just brings them. So clearly Zordon doesn't care.
Know, later on, Zordon does kind of become a little bit more humanistic. I don't know if that's like the word for it, but he does like crack some jokes and then actually like does things because he likes the Rangers, not because it's like a duty or anything. Like he actually does things that are like, haha, like you guys did such a good job. Like you guys deserve this. I don't remember any of those examples, but I do know he does like actually do actions that aren't just about being a Power Ranger.
Right. Well, if they didn't, then why would Billy try to bring him back all those years later? Right. That makes sense. So... There's like some guy that messes with them all the time and gives them like vague answers. Of, like I guess.
Yeah, that was.
You can find outer dimensional flowers, but you don't know where Tommy is. Like, okay,
that was the one thing about the special where I'm like, I can't recall And other than, I guess, like saving their lives in certain instances of like teleporting them away from danger and stuff, but I was like, I can't recall Zordon being like an actual like father figure to them, other than this like semi-mentor who's like, hey, go here and fight these creatures. Like, I don't remember him being like, yeah.
Asterix. Billy lived in the command center for a while.
Poor Billy, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, he was the only one who lived in the command center for a while.
That's crazy.
And Dio.
Okay.
Akil, do you have any notes that you want to share for this episode?
I just had the one part that made me lose it in this episode is when Rita's trying to figure out which monster to use. And Baboo says, oh no, I'm not worthy to make a suggestion to you. Because like showing the status. But then Squat immediately says, how about a giant cucumber with bad breath?
They're going for results.
They're going
people.
for it.
Maybe it's poisonous breath. Maybe it's poisonous breath, you know?
Just bad breath.
It's just bad breath.
Bad
A
breath.
cucumber too?
I'm just saying though, like they didn't know that the traffic light was going to do what it did. So maybe even though maybe just when they put it in, it comes out, it is bad breath, but it actually ends up being poisonous or sleepy or something. So
if you ask me, that's 2 for 2, okay, for what they've done. All right, they've both done 2 good plans, and they've been working. And then he says that I was like, you know what? It probably would have worked.
Yep.
It probably would have worked.
More than whatever Goldar's doing.
Right, exactly. What has Goldar done these past 3 episodes?
Nothing. He just complains, right? He just like, and he never shows up, like either.
He
like
doesn't, no.
he's just like there to be
yeah,
a
that was
jerk.
interesting. Lately, he hasn't been showing up.
Maybe he's really upset with himself. I think he's just really.
Oh yeah, he's punishing himself still.
He is right. I did mention.
He told us he's
punishing himself. Maybe he's got like a mental thing. He's just like, I'm not good enough to do anything right now.
Yeah. We all have those days. We all have those days. I respect it.
Yeah, man. He's going through it.
Yeah.
His job sucks. He's like, I gotta fill out my resume. I wonder if there's a guy out there with the letter Z that I could serve instead.
Oh, that's gonna be so exciting.
That
change in dynamic is gonna be
be good.
It's a little while away, but yes.
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 But in the meantime, that was this concludes this week's episode of Once a Ranger. Next time we will watch the Halloween episode that I watched instead.
That's a really good episode.
It's a good one. It actually is really fun. Except as you might predict, Tommy is not there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, he's there, but he's not. It's gonna be good. We're starting to do, I think, the 3-episode. I think for a while, just because we are getting formulaic. There are 60 episodes, and we don't want to do this until we're like Rip Van Winkle.
Rip Van Winkle.
Like the
Can't have a Rip Van Winkle situation, guys. We're gonna make like a tree and get out of here.
You make like a tree and get out.
If you don't know, apparently there are 4 different books to read about Rip Van Winkle.
And a movie, a very successful movie franchise.
Anyways, I'm Minhas. I'm joined with Akil, Nova, and Nick. Until next time.
Bye.
Once a Ranger, always a Ranger.